Select to play the song that I asked for. If you wanna link up, then you can meet me on the dance floor. 50 Cent can't dance like me. Soulja Boy can't dance like me. Michael Jackson can't dance like me. No.
Wait.
So
I need your help. Do I know you? Are you taking a shit? There's a guy over here taking a shit! Stop! Would you like me to grab you some toilet paper? I'm not taking a shit! How do I know you again?
do the Rolex sweep. Do the Rolex sweep. Do the Rolex sweep. Do the Rolex sweep. Do the Rolex sweep.
I was like you when I was younger. I thought I knew everything. I was a right cocky little arsehole.
And look where it got you. You got the big office. You got a staple gun. You're living the dream, man.
You think you're better than all this?
I know I'm better than this because, Bev, if I'm not, I'll probably have to kill myself.
All right, so yeah, episode 4. Is Misfits the best?
Is Misfits the best?
So this one is going to have, for maybe the only time ever, a different theme song at the start instead of the Rapture, because there's this one song that is so pivotal to this episode. Before we get started, some bookkeeping updates. So we were trying to figure out where this show was available, like where you could even watch it. I found out there are a bunch of episodes just on YouTube, just straight up on YouTube. Not all of them, I don't think, but because it's like I found out when I uploaded this podcast to YouTube, I just put the video on and just like, let's just see what happens. Because if you do that to like a movie, you're fucked. They'll just take it down. Misfits was fine, and then I got a little note that's like, it looks fine, but really, if you're in the UK or Ireland or the Isle of Wight, you can't see this.
Yeah, so if you're from those countries, sorry.
The other thing is our cousin Allison dropped me a line and said this show is available on Amazon Prime.
Oh, it is on Prime.
Yeah, so a lot of people have that, so that's a good way to watch it. And yeah, she also was like, oh, it's, what's Nathan's real name again?
Oh, fuck. Rob Sheridan?
Robert Sheehan?
That's it. Yeah, Robert Sheehan.
But anyway, he's Rob.
Nice one.
He's definitely the most famous person on this show because she's like, oh, that guy's in it. So she knew who he was. So this is episode 4, came out December 3rd, 2009. Oh, and I was going to say about places you can see the show. If anyone does happen to be just listening to this podcast and relying on us to explain what's going on in the show, this episode in particular, I really feel like episode 4 of Misfits.
You should watch it.
Yeah, because it's like definitely my favorite Misfits episode, and one of, I think I said before, but like if I had to pick my top 10 episodes of TV, this would be in there somewhere because it's just such an awesome I love little time travel clockwork stories.
Is good as long as it's done well, and it's hard to do well.
Yeah, well, maybe that's one thing we should blab about briefly is because I was thinking about that, about the different kinds of time travel, where, just to put it like vaguely in big terms, it seems like there's like...
Marty McFly fucking his mom?
Yeah, well, there's like super technical time travel. Like there's this movie Primer that I never even finished because it's so complicated, and it's just like I'm gonna have to start over sometime because it's all like all the time loops happen from the start, you know, like the movie doesn't reverse, like everything just happens, and it all makes sense if you think about it, like, oh, that happened because later this guy went back and did this, and it's like just a crazy clockwork thing. But the kind of time travel I tend to like better is like the emotional time travel, like Back to the Future. Like there's no reason why he would have a picture that's fading. It makes no fucking sense, but it's just to show, you know, that...
Well, in actuality, he would have a picture that just disappeared.
Yeah, because they wouldn't take a picture with no one there in that exact spot. And then, yeah, the half picture. But I like that stuff because I like that idea. I think the thing recently that did it the best, recently, like 2012 or whatever, is the movie Looper.
Looper was pretty good.
Where they explain that it is like... It's like... quantum or temporal, like they explain the emotional time travel idea, but sort of scientifically, of like that there's two things happening at the same time.
Yeah, the future and the past is occurring. Yeah.
In Bruce Willis's head, he sees both realities. So it kind of makes sense that like it's so like there's stuff like Paul Dano's character, like it's weird that he's driving along, or he's trying to escape, but they cut off his hand.
And his hand disappears. Yeah.
And his hand disappears in the future. So again, you get that same thing of like, well, if he didn't have a hand all this time, why would he be in that same spot in this car trying to drive away? But it's because there's like a quantum connection between the atoms.
Between those two time frames.
So it's like, the good enough. I'll do, that's my favorite kind of time travel is the good enough time travel. I don't need it to totally make sense. As long as emotionally I feel like it makes sense, that's fine. And that's what this is. That's definitely how Curtis's time travel is purely emotion based because he literally needs to get upset.
He needs to get upset about shit before he can travel.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the time travel episode, and yeah, such a good. I just love. I mean, we'll see as we go through, but when a time travel story comes together, it's the best.
I think it's funny that this is probably one of the best episodes they made. Right after, in my opinion, one of the worst episodes.
Yeah. Well, again, like episode 3 was just getting us here.
Was there different authors?
I'm pretty sure Howard Overman wrote all of them, but again, yeah, he just had to lay some track.
He was having an off day last episode, I guess.
Well, that's what's weird too. Is like this is that in between period of TV where things used to be episodic, like, Next Generation or whatever, where every episode was just an episode. Nowadays, a whole season
Overarching storylines
is the thing. And you're lucky if it even wraps up because then it'll just go into season 2 and it's like there's no thing. Where this is that middle period where there's an overarching plot, but then each episode has an adventure of the week.
Yeah.
And last week was, way more the overarching plot. So December 3rd, 2009. 2009's coming to an end. So to set us in time, I went and looked up the shit that happened that week. So a new album by R. Kelly.
Fuck R. Kelly.
Also, because it's December, MXPX put out Punk Rock Christmas, which I think is proof that the punk revival was definitely over.
It was done.
Video games, Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. I think it was like on the DS or something.
Oh, well, I never played any of the handheld Zelda games.
Movies, The Box, poor old Richard Kelly. So he made Donnie Darko, and it was cool, but I think cool by accident. And then he did the movie with The Rock in it that was fucking terrible, Southland Tales. So then this was his third movie that was just based on an old Twilight Zone episode. And this officially marked the end of Richard Kelly as a director because no one cared.
What was The Box about? Do we know?
It was like one of these things like you have the box with the button in it, and if you press the button, you can get $1 million, but someone else in the world will die, and then someone else gets the box. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever.
Fuck that, dude.
And Precious. Good old Precious.
I never saw Precious, but man, that chick definitely needed to put the fork down.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, these movies, like I haven't seen them, but they really do. Probably the movies anchor things in time the best because you're like, oh yeah, I remember when everyone was making Precious jokes. This fat chick who gets molested.
Really? People stopped making Precious jokes?
We're bringing it back.
I'm a horrible, horrible human being. All right, so episode starts out with...
Let's see, previously on Misfits, so yeah, Curtis was put on community service because he was caught with drugs and he was the guy who was going to be a Olympic
runner.
And Nathan was done for eating some pick and mix. It seemed like random things to bring up, but those are important to this episode.
Yeah. What was Kelly actually brought in for?
She got in a fight with someone.
So she didn't get busted for Grand Theft Auto, which we'll bring back up.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what's funny is all the characters come close to getting arrested in this episode, and then they all do get arrested like the next fucking day, which is just fucking weird. I guess I'm not sure exactly how long it was between, but it can't be that long between.
No, they all must have been arrested somewhere in that near vicinity. They're all in it, and they're all cunts.
Yeah. So the way every episode was based on a character, this one has a side of Nathan, but is absolutely Curtis.
This is Curtis's episode, definitely.
So we get to see Curtis's little wake-up routine. He wakes up every morning, and he just remembers that his Olympic dreams are over.
Because there's a newspaper that he must have been holding for, a couple weeks since he started at the community center.
Yeah, unless they're still making headlines about him.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
2 weeks later, let's still poke fun at Curtis.
And man, I noticed too, he's got a ridiculous number of trophies in his room. Like they're on his windowsill and shit. Like, I guess the set dressers were just like, let's just make it clear, again, if someone hasn't seen the first few episodes.
Curtis was fucking awesome.
If you glance at the screen for a second, you're going to see several trophies. So he's like, fuck my life, god damn it.
His jumpsuit's hanging off his closet. His orange jumpsuit for community work.
But on the plus side, he goes to do his community service, and he started dating Alicia, who's super hot.
But you can't touch.
Because when she touches people, they become sex-crazed maniacs. All, what's that line from Clerks? All sex-crazed and retard strong.
Oh my god, I haven't thought of that in a while.
So she came up with this idea, which I don't know why Rogue from the X-Men never thought of this.
Just jerk off in front of each other, fucking masturbate.
So yeah, they're in the community center in the morning, just fucking
Hiding behind like a fucking security gate. Like, couldn't you go find a broom closet or something? Like something a little more private?
And one thing too, like I didn't notice it when we were just watching it on the TV here, but if you listen with headphones, that when I first watched it, you can hear little squelching sounds of her clicking the mouse or whatever. And I'm like, it's a good work, sound guy, but I didn't need to hear that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude. Bravo. You're going to get an award for this.
And of course, Nathan, walks in on him
and starts making fun of them, of course. So they get dressed to go to rejoin the group, and Nathan is miming, jerking off to everybody. So they're like, oh, well, Nathan knows.
He really does. Like, it's no wonder that he's by far like the favorite character, because he does all the heavy lifting of the jokes in this show.
Oh, yeah.
It's 100% him. So then Curtis's old girlfriend Sam shows up. She's been released from prison or whatever. And we were saying, I don't know.
Like, how quick does the prison system work in fucking Britain? Because, like, he just got community service. She was caught with, like, the lion's share of the drugs.
And at most, maybe each episode, there might be a week in between. They're not clear. It might be less.
Yeah.
But at most, it's been a month. So, I don't know, good behavior or some shit. Who knows?
Yeah, like, what was she doing? Fucking blowing all the guards? Oh, well, she's good. Put her on the street.
And, I don't know, this chick, to me, she looks like Elliott Smith. Which is weird because Elliott Smith's not a girl.
I was going to say, like, while we were watching it, I was going to say, like, no wonder he's with Alicia. Look at that fucking thing. Although she does, at one point, one of the flashbacks, she's jumping around and her tits are flopping everywhere. I was like, holy fuck.
So, yeah, that ties up that plot hole.
There you go. That's why he was with her. Look at the tits on her.
So, yeah, she gives him the big sob story. No one's going to hire her for anything because of her conviction.
I'm drug trafficking. Brr. No one's going to hire me. My life is ruined. Fuck you, Curtis. You were with that girl. Brr.
Yeah, she sees that Curtis is now with a new girl, and he never visited her, which is pretty shit on his point. He's like, oh, I was guilty, isn't it?
I didn't want to feel the guilt. You fucking cunt.
But he does feel pretty guilty, and, it is his fault because he asked her to buy the drugs. And he says the key line, if I could do anything to change it, I would.
And
conveniently, his superpower is he can go back in time and he can change stuff. So yeah, this is the least... I mean, I guess we got to kick this story off, but compared to the other things that make him go back in time, this is by far the softest one.
Well, I mean,
I guess it shows he's a good guy. He does feel bad.
He does feel bad about it.
That's what's interesting about his power, too, is like he can't fake it, He can only time travel when shit sucks. So yeah, then we were talking about this before, how, they don't spend a lot of money on people's superpowers, but his is awesome, where
they zoom in on his eye and flash back everything that's happened in the past.
And the most he's ever gone back has just been like a few minutes.
And this one is like months, like a month or two.
Yeah, we go back to the night that he got arrested. And man, this one thing too, the British shows are always so good at is they're so good at club scenes and just making dance clubs look fun and awesome.
I've never had fun at a dance club.
Yeah, me either. I fucking hate them in North America. But this did make me think of, there's this chick, Maggie Rogers. She did this song, Alaska. And she said on Song Exploder about how she was in England and a bunch of her friends were like, let's go clubbing, Roy. She's like, ah, fuck that. Like, that's terrible. I hate that shit in America. But it was way different. Like, instead of just getting all tarted up and putting on your fucking high heels and the terrible music and all the bullshit, instead, everybody just put on sneakers and they just went out to actually dance and have fun at a club. So it made me think, like, man, maybe British, like, dance culture is better. Because, like, it can't be coincidence that all those electronica bands and shit, Chemical Brothers, Prodigy, fucking Aphex Twin, everything is... And this is getting sidetracked, but when I was in Amsterdam, these two German dudes were sitting next to me at a Starbucks and they asked me to take a picture of them for something. But so I overheard their conversation after I took a little picture for them, and they're like, there's this club in Dusseldorf that plays the deep house. And I was like, yeah, like they're so into their electronica in a way that we're just not. But maybe it's actually fun there.
There are people that are into it. Like I had a friend who was from out west who was totally into fucking dance. And it was just weird because I was like, dude, We went drinking one night and he started dancing and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, it's a simple fucking 8-step beat. Just do it. And I was like, no, I'm just going to sit here and drink beer. Thanks.
Yeah, I knew a guy in New York, like he only listened to like house music. And yeah, just generally speaking, I fucking hate that shit. Like any song that starts with just a drum beat, yeah, which I realized later was just so DJs could mix them together. But it's so fucking annoying when you listen to the song, which is weird because, cool song alert, whenever they cut back to this moment, this is like the
Starts
anchor
with
point.
the same song.
Yeah, where he's in the club at this exact moment. And this song, normally I don't think would be the kind of song I would like, but just because I've watched this episode so much, it grew on me. And it really helps that they use it in this context that makes it seem good. It made me give it more of a try. And it's called Rolex Sweep by Skepta. And I'm like, I fucking love this song. But it's called the Vandalism Remix. And that's like proof of how good the music is on this show. Because I went and looked this guy up. I'm like, maybe this is the guy. Maybe this is the house music.
The house music guy that you're going to listen to?
And the original song fucking sucks. It's the Rolex Sweep is this dumb dance where you like, it's like you're turning a big steering wheel because you get your Rolex on your...
Showing people everyone.
Do the Rolex Sweep. And yeah, and the song just doesn't have a good beat, and it's the same lyrics, but it's this fucking dorky dance, and it's like the bad house music Macarena, and I'm like, this is shit. But this Vandalism remix fucking rules. So good on you, Misfits. Like you even know how to pick the right version of the song to make it cool. But one thing too that's cool with this song is if you search it on YouTube, somebody made a really cool music video. This is when I started realizing maybe I could post Misfits shit on YouTube and not get in trouble, because the guy just made a music video for the song with clips from this episode. And I was like, man, this video is so well done. This is so cool. I should leave a comment telling this guy how much this rules. But then something deep in my brain was like, wait a minute. And I scrolled down through the comments, and 3 years ago, there's me going, this is fucking cool. So I thought that was pretty funny.
See, I don't leave comments on YouTube videos.
I only do when it's fucking real cool.
All right, so he goes back the first time. And does he change anything the first time?
Yeah, so his time travel power, again, because he can't really control it, it didn't give him a lot of wiggle room. He shows up just before they do this drug transaction. He doesn't have time to stop it because his girlfriend has already got the drugs on her. He's dealing with the drug dealer. He knows this undercover cop's about to burst in and fuck up their shit. So the best he can do is he grabs the bag of coke. So this undercover cop chases him, and I guess there's a lot of, I never really thought about this too heavy before, but this is like a gangbang of coincidences of just everyone from the whole show is at this club tonight. So the cop is the same cop that's Sally's friend, who's like
investigating Tony's disappearance.
Yeah, which again, all of this, I'm just gonna have to give it a pass, because like if you really wanted this to be more like realistic,
it would be a different cop.
Yeah, none of these people would be there. But once you just accept that, like, okay, they're just all there, fuck it. You know?
It's kind of funny.
So Curtis locks himself in the club bathroom, and it's one of these bathrooms too, yeah, with like graffiti everywhere and all fucked up.
And every toilet I've seen in anything British is absolutely fucking filthy and disgusting. Like, it looks like people have just shat on the sides of it for fucking years.
Yeah, the classic train spotting scene, of course. But this club too, this bathroom, this reminded me of there's this punk club called the Cobalt in Vancouver that's I don't know if it's still there, but when I first went there, it was like the first time I was ever in a place that looked like this, and I was just like, this is so cool. I feel like I'm in a movie. You know, it's just awesome. It was neat too, where there was, you know, it didn't used to be a punk club. It was a normal bar that couldn't make money, so they
started charging for punk shows. Yeah.
So there was this old man who would always hang out there, who used to be like previous, you know, would hang out there. So when it became a punk club, he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna keep hanging out here. So people would buy him beer because he was like the fucking mascot of the place. And he would just sit there with a straw in the beer and his fingers in his ears because he hated the music, and just sit there and drink beer. And everyone's like, hey, it's that guy.
If you hated the fucking music, just find another bar. Like, what the fuck?
But it was weird that he was kind of like, it became like his Cheers place because everybody knew who he was and bought him beer. So.
That's fucked up. That's really fucked up.
Yeah, when he died, everyone was sad or whatever. I mean, not like I hung out there a lot, but I went there enough that I picked up on this tale of the weird old man.
So yeah, he flushes the drugs.
And he escapes out the tiny little window.
Always have a tiny little window in shows.
So yeah, he ends up in this parking garage.
Hiding behind a car.
Yeah, and good old Nathan walks by. So of course he's like, hey, Nathan, because he doesn't...
And Nathan doesn't know him at this point. So he's like, Do I know you? Are you taking a shit? Hey, everybody, there's a guy over here taking a shit.
Yeah, and it's just awesome that, like, this is like them meeting again for the first time, and within fucking seconds,
Nathan's a fucking cunt.
the worst thing he could possibly do. Like, this guy's hiding from the cops, and it's like, hey, there's a guy over here taking a shit. Like, what a fucking asshole. So this is where we're introduced to the B plot of the episode, which
Is why Nathan got arrested.
yeah, which is so weird because it's not like anyone needed the origin story of him getting arrested for eating some pick and mix.
It's fucking entertaining as shit.
Yeah. So it turns out, connected to this complex, there's the parking lot, there's the club, and there's like a bowling alley.
alley.
So Nathan's going to go bowling with his friends, who we only see them for a sec, but yeah, we notice that they're
They
not.
just do not look impressed that they have to hang out with Nathan.
And he really is. He's just so socially inept that he just doesn't realize like what he can't do because like I said, how gross it was beyond the pick and mix.
Yeah, he reaches into a fucking fridge and pulls out some orange juice, cracks it, takes a big drink, spits it all over the fucking place with a fucking disgusted look on his face, puts the cap back on and shoves it back in the fucking fridge. Like, that is worse than the pick and mix. Yeah, no. Like, so much worse.
And that's enough to get the managers watching him, and then he starts eating the pick and mix. But yeah, it's like there's that line between he's just a fucking fun-loving guy or whatever, and yeah, that's just fucking disgusting. Like wasn't there it was like a trend on YouTube, or it became bad internet famous because it was like this chick who she took an ice cream out at the supermarket and licked it and put it back. Like, it's just fucking gross. You can't do shit like that.
Who was it that did that was famous? Was it Selena Gomez or Ariana Grande? One of them fucking licked a bunch of donuts and got busted on fucking security camera.
Yeah, it's just
one of those two.
You just can't do that shit, man. It's
Hold up.
not cool.
Famous bitch licks donut. I'm gonna find out. Ariana Grande licks donut in viral security. Why did Ariana Grande apologize for licking a donut? Okay, so anyway.
What a dirty bitch. So, the manager obviously insists that Nathan pay for the pick and mix and the drink.
The manager's name, Beverly. Yeah. Like, Beverly has to be the best non-recurring character in the show.
And I guess, we should point out Beverly is a man.
Beverly is a dude, and he's sort of this squat little rotund dude, and he's funny as fuck.
Beverly's biggest mistake ever was wearing a name tag that said his name is Beverly Morgan, because, Nathan just immediately is like, again, coming back to like clerk stuff. Chicks with the dicks, hermaphrodites and stuff. Just pontificates that his parents...
Why did your parents name you Beverly?
Yeah, like maybe you were a hermaphrodite. Maybe your parents decided which one they wanted. They wanted you to be a boy, so they sewed up your clunge. And he's on, like, he just turns into a fucking Brawl Trailer Park Boys style, and he's got his little radio. He's like, I'm being attacked by a hermaphrodite.
Now, what I want to know is why the radio broadcasts over the loudspeakers in the bowling alley, but like...
Yeah, that's convenient.
He's just screaming that fucking he's being attacked by a fucking hermaphrodite, and everybody in the whole bowling alley can fucking hear it. So he decides the security guard and Beverly have him pinned, so he starts faking a fucking epileptic seizure. So they get off of him and they're trying to calm down, and he bolts. And you pointed it out. Who runs down the fucking bowling lanes?
Yeah, he's captured very easily. Just trying to...
fucking tries to climb through the pins into the back.
Yeah, like, where is he going to go from there? Like, I assume that doesn't go anywhere. I don't know.
The next scene is him sitting in Beverly's office with Beverly saying, you're going to have to pay for all the damages.
And I just love that he's such an asshole at every little stage. Like, he agrees, like, all right, fine, I'll pay for the stuff because, don't call the cops. So he's got this credit card, but he won't let go of it.
Oh, take it.
Just take it. The tug of war. But then the card's expired. So that's we'll leave Nathan there for now, but things aren't looking good for him.
Yeah. So now we know why he got in trouble, but he hasn't been arrested yet.
Yeah, because that's why nobody believes him. They're just like, you don't get arrested for eating some pick and mix, but you do if you're the biggest fucking asshole.
If you get into a fucking assault charges against a short fat man, steal drinks, cause a major disturbance.
Oh, some property damage. He knocked down a big gumball machine.
Knocked down a gumball machine. Slander for fucking claiming that Beverly has a sewed up clunge.
So yeah, back at the club, this is where we start getting all the other characters seated in, where again, it's just, TV you gotta have. I always wonder with Man, one time I noticed this big time was with Breaking Bad, everyone hated Walt's wife. Like, there's reached a point in the story where there was no need for her anymore, and she was just making it not fun. But it's TV, right? Like, she's got a contract. She has to be in the show.
Did they kill her?
No, she makes it. She makes it to the end, and she's a fucking pain in the ass the whole goddamn time. But that's kind of what this reminds me of. Is like, you can't just have an episode of the show without the characters in it. So conveniently, everyone's there tonight. So, so the first one we see is Kelly,
and she's dancing. She's hammered out of her gourd.
Yeah, super fucked up.
And her man, she like calls her man over, and he starts making out with her, and she's probably had way too much to drink because she has to go outside for some fresh air.
They really do too. It's not like, like heroin chic. Sometimes you see like a fucked up chick, but she's kind of looks still hot with like the
No, Kelly looks like fucking shit.
Yeah, she's all pasty and just fucked up. so yeah, she's sitting outside and she's all fucked up, and Curtis goes by and sees her. And again, he's in this weird spot where he knows these people, but they don't know him. So she's kind of
sitting in a stairwell, fucking pukes all over his shoes.
So he takes off his jacket, gives it to her. And unfortunately, that was a fuck up because his money, his
drug money.
Yeah, because he flushed the drugs, but the money was in the jacket. So then he gets back to the drug dealer, realizes that Kelly's got his money. Oh, she notices too right away.
She's like, you left your money here. Hey. And then she pulls out a wad, probably like a good 2 inches thick.
But he's super pissed, and, it's England. Everyone's a crazy fucking violent criminal. So he pulls out a knife.
And stabs Sam.
The drug dealer runs off. She's bleeding out. It's not looking good. And luckily, Curtis has the power that when he gets upset...
you can rewind time.
So yeah, and he back to the Rolex sweep, back to that exact moment.
Yeah.
Which again, if only they could take it back a little further, it would help so much.
I don't want to buy your drugs. That's all that would have to happen.
But yeah, every time Curtis is thrown into it where he just doesn't have any time to fucking...
He has to make split-second decisions, and they're all really dumb.
So this one, yeah, it was confusing to me at first, where this time he shoves the drug dealer and runs off. So he manages to get the cops off his tail, but this time the dealer's chasing him. And I was like, why does he have... Just drop the drugs. Why do you have the drugs with you? But then it turns out to kind of make sense.
He doesn't want the dealer to get arrested with the drugs. He doesn't want Sam to get arrested with the drugs. He doesn't want to get arrested with the drugs.
Right.
So they're all just not there.
Which I guess, dealers. Yeah, makes sense too. Because maybe that's just, maybe Curtis is a better person than me. To me, I would just be like, fuck you, dealer. Go down, motherfucker.
Yep. See, I don't want to buy your drugs. See you, bitch.
But I guess if he could tie up that and he doesn't want an angry drug dealer.
No, nobody wants an angry drug dealer.
On his resume. So same thing, he runs to the bathroom, through into the parking lot, sees Nathan, but he's like...
Rather than fucking call out to him, he's just like, fucking cunt.
Frick. And we find out later while he was hidden behind the car, he hid the drugs in the car this time.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's also why this just seemed confusing. You don't find that out till later. So this whole middle part, I was a little confused at first, but it all makes sense in the end. So now back in the club. So we saw that Alicia is there, but she doesn't do anything yet. She's just there. Simon's also at the club, which is the most improbable person. Like, why would he be at the club?
Because he's just, no. But he's there because someone sent him a text, but it was the wrong Simon.
Yeah, they texted the wrong Simon, and it's so sad where he showed up, and he's like...
He bought this guy a beer, and he's like, I bought you a beer. And he's like, nah. I was messaging my mates.
Other Simon. Friends. So yeah, just again to reinforce, and we'll reinforce it even more soon, of what a sad, pathetic creep poor Simon is.
I mean, they make him way too fucking creepy in these early episodes. So Kelly is out in the stairwell again. Curtis gives her his hoodie again, but takes the money this time like a smart boy and leaves. And fucking Simon, dejected and alone, leaves the club and finds Kelly passed out in the stairwell and proceeds to fucking feel her up.
Yeah, like he's like staring at her and she's all passed out and clammy and fucked up. And yeah, at first he's just like, are you all right? But yeah, quickly escalates to him like lifting her skirt
up. Like,
and like his hand is reaching in. Maybe he touched her, maybe he didn't, but he got way too close either way.
Yeah.
And then he gets freaked out and runs off. But yeah, what a fucking creep. Oh yeah, and what this reminded me of, do you remember this dude? I think his name was Brock Turner. It was this big news story.
Yeah. The kid who got away with fucking like molesting, like raping a chick.
Well, yeah, he didn't get away with it because I know his name's Brock Turner. He like dragged this chick. It was like at a party. He like dragged her outside behind a dumpster.
And somebody caught him fucking raping this chick and beat the fuck out of him, and yeah.
And what made me think of him or brought him back into my mind, because that was ages ago, but I've read a follow-up story about him because the story was about in general, like what happens to these people that are a big deal for a bit and then no one talks about them. But it was like this nationwide story that is fucking horrible. Like
His parents got him out of everything.
but it's like basically he where he's at now is he lives with his parents. He works in some kind of like box delivery type, place. And his manager said, like, yeah, he's just really quiet. He doesn't talk to anybody. He doesn't cause any problems. But it's like he's stuck in this weird limbo world where he can never really achieve anything.
Because he was a fucking filthy cunt back in the day.
Like the best he can do, is just fucking keep his head down and have a little job. And and it's just like, man, what the fuck, yeah. And I'm not saying I have sympathy for him. That's totally fucked. Don't
go fucking raping people.
And I remember too, like that story, because it was just so creepy. On top of like, it's not like, I mean, it'd be bad no matter what, but it's not like he found a chick passed out in a bedroom at a party. He dragged her out. She had like dirt and gravel, like like her legs were all scraped up, and it's like, what the fuck, guy? Like, we've all been at parties and been drunk, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna make a bad decision. But that's like a bad decision times 10 fucking thousand. Like, there's really no excuse to drag a corpse out.
Yeah. No, I've made bad decisions at parties, but I've never... chick's passed out. No, sorry.
Yeah, it's so fucked. But yeah, it just made me think of Simon was on the road to being Brock Turner, but luckily. So let's see. So the cops descend on Curtis, Sam, and the dealer, but because this is where the second loop cleared up for me, because Curtis grabbed the drugs and hid them. So now no one's got anything on them. Everyone gets out scot-free. The dealer's real pissed at first, but it's a nice little line of like, hey, you should be thanking me. I'm your best friend. And then, like the dealer's just laughing. He's so happy. Like, oh, I can't believe, like, what are the chances that you would notice an undercover cop, steal my drugs, go hide them so that we'd all get away scot-free? Amazing. So he gives the drugs back to the dealer, and the dealer's like, you can have them. And he's like, nope, no drugs. Like,
yeah, I don't want the drugs.
Yeah, and that's just great because it's like, it couldn't have gone better. He fucking fixed everything, and... that's what I love so much about this episode, is we've got one more loop to go, because this seems great. Oh, you did it, but he didn't do it.
What happened? Like, I forget why he went back. Oh, back to Nathan?
Yeah, so in this timeline, of course, Nathan is just off at the bowling alley, so nothing is affected by what Curtis does. So things are going just as badly for him. He tried to call his mom, but she's in Spain, so the mom sends Nathan's dad. I don't think he ever shows up again, does he? I think this is his only...
I think he's in like one more episode.
Because really all we know is that things are so bad between Nathan and his dad that Nathan
just like, why the fuck are you here?
Yeah, he never would have called his dad, and he literally would rather be arrested than have his dad pay for his fucking pick and mix.
His damages. And he basically is like, why the fuck are you here? And just, I'm fine, get out, nothing happened.
So the dad's like, all right, fine. Like, he obviously
Call
knows
the cops.
He knows what a cunt his kid is, so he's like, there's no arguing with him, so all right, see you later. And Beverly's been getting verbally abused by Nathan this whole night, so this is where he finally is like, oh, things are really good between you and your dad.
And Nathan picks up a fucking industrial staple gun and staples Beverly's hand.
Shut up, Beverly. Boom.
Come on.
And that's awesome too, because that really fucking
cements why Nathan got fucking arrested.
And it's so perfect too, because Nathan is truthful when he says, I got arrested for eating some pick and mix, not I got arrested for putting a staple gun
in
into
the guy's
someone's
fucking hand.
Like, to him, he's like, he was shocked first off that he could even get in trouble for eating some pick and mix, and that it escalated to this point. Like, I'm sure he just thinks he's innocent.
Like, here's the thing, like, I'm socially inept, but I know not to fucking A, eat random food at a fucking bowling alley, and B, I don't think I've ever slammed a staple into somebody's hand.
Maybe that's what, because we had our little list of people who have murdered, still just Kelly, but between Simon and Nathan, who's the most socially inept of this guy?
Pretty sure it's Nathan.
Yeah, because Simon, I guess, knows better.
He knows what's right and wrong. Nathan just doesn't know and doesn't care.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when Rudy shows up and we can compare and contrast, because Rudy is so much more of a normal person. Like, Nathan is like, he's like the...
He's psychotic. He's absolutely.
Yeah, he's like a trickster god, like Loki fucking, or like the elemental form of being a fucking cunt. Like, he just can't not do it. Although I guess, yeah, we'll get to the point in this episode where there is one, his only ever serious.
Oh yeah, like I've never seen him act serious in any movie or any show that I've ever seen him in except that one fucking point.
Curtis sees Alicia at the club, and it's just a cool little weird moment where he's like, I changed the future. She's like, all right, mate, you're being a fucking weirdo or whatever. But it's just that cool little, like, I fixed it. I fixed everything. I know you don't understand and you don't even, whatever, but it's fucking awesome. And yeah, Kelly and her boyfriend are there. The boyfriend from episode 1. Oh yeah, they were engaged. That's right. She made this big deal about the engagement, but the engagement only happened here because they're hot wiring a car.
Hot-wired the car of Tony, and I can't remember her name.
Tony and Sally, the probation workers. Yeah, this is way too much coincidence.
They're bowling.
Yeah, they're at the bowling alley, and in the car that Kelly and her boyfriend hotwire is the engagement ring Tony's gonna give
Sally. Yeah,
and just because they find one by happenstance, he
proposes to fucking Kelly.
That's so fucking romantic.
Oh, fuck.
And that's where we also learn, like, definitely it confirms that Tony had a pre-existing rage problem. He has a reason to be upset.
Yeah.
His car got fucking...
Well, and the engagement ring, and he kicks the ever-living shit out of some sign that's nailed to a post or something.
So we were definitely right about that potential thing. But it also just that one extra bit, too, of that idea that the probation workers, the two of them are just such good people. Of like, they were going to get married. Everything was going so well.
I was enjoying a lovely night at the bowling alley. Oh.
And then we do the first ever flash forward, which I think is just to save time. We don't actually go through the next few days of Curtis's life. He just flashes back to the same morning that we started at. And yeah, he wakes up and now the newspaper, classic Back to the Future shit, the newspaper is like, Curtis Donovan is the best.
Yeah, Curtis Donovan just going to the Olympics and his orange jumpsuit isn't hanging off the closet door. And
he gets a call to go do...
practice.
Go do practice, and he's like, all right, cool, but yeah, just gonna swing by, gotta do something first. So he just goes by the community center because he just wants to see what's going on now in the new timeline. And man, it ain't good.
Fucking, because Curtis wasn't there when Tony got his rage powers, he actually murdered everybody. Yeah. So everybody's dead.
That one little part in episode 1 where he just reversed time by like 2 minutes saved everybody, because yeah, now there's flowers everywhere and
everyone's picture is there except Nathan, who wanders into the scene and he's got like a big gash in his head that's all stitched up.
Yeah, so Nathan explains that Curtis is just like, what happened to everyone? And Nathan's like, the fucking probation worker just flipped out, killed everyone. And it's interesting because like there's no time even for the superhero plot to even happen. Everyone just died. So that's just gone. No one knows these kids had powers for a fucking hour because the probation worker just killed them all. And yeah, I guess we've been putting it off, but it's not coincidence that Nathan
survived,
is alive. Yeah, he says he barely survived. He was half dead, but this is his power.
That's his power. He's immortal.
They don't say it still like directly, but at this point, it's hard to miss that this is his power. But he doesn't know either. He still
doesn't know at that point. He's just like, yeah, I was half dead.
But I do love that. I love how they seeded into this little side cul-de-sac timeline that doesn't even exist anymore. Just like, hey, viewer, if you're paying attention, here it is. Here's what happened.
Yeah. So, of course, Curtis gets all fucking wigged out and upset again.
Yeah, and like to me, this is what makes this... This is the part that makes this one of my favorite little bits of TV ever made, is like we've got the go back in time and fix everything. That would be all right. But this idea that he's got to go back in time and deliberately fuck up his own life to save his friends is like, that's when time travel fucking rules. That's such clever, weird shit. And this is one of those cases too where I have a hard time telling if people are good actors or not. I used to wonder about that. Like, is acting really that hard, but you only notice when you see a bad actor. That's when you realize good actors are good.
I did not hit her. I did not.
So like with this show, like I can't tell who's a good actor and who isn't. It's hard to say. Nathan seems amazing, but he always plays that character.
In everything. And if you watch interviews, that's him.
And like if I was to just look at Curtis's performance, I wouldn't say he seems amazing, but maybe he's just kind of a bland character. But this moment I love so much, where I don't know that anyone else on the cast could have pulled it off the way he did, where they go back again, Rolex sweep, back to that moment right before the drug thing. And just every time he comes back, he's got a different expression. But this one, he's like fucking amped up. He's like all adrenaline out because he's
got to get this done.
Because he realized all his friends fucking died, and he's like got the weird plan of what he's got to do, and he's just like, whoa, like I'm gonna do it, and it's fucking awesome. Like he fucking nailed it. Like I don't know that anyone else on the cast could have done that moment as good as he did. It's so good.
How does it go down? He grabs the drugs again.
Okay, so this time he buys the drugs, but he makes sure Sam isn't holding the stuff.
Yeah.
The cops show up. He runs to the bathroom.
Flushes everything but one baggie.
Yeah, he doesn't go out the window. He leaves like a bit of coke on his finger and deliberately gets arrested. And this is, I guess we were talking about Donnie Darko earlier. This reminds me a lot of Donnie Darko, where now you get this moment where Sam's okay, the cops are checking her, but she doesn't have anything. Curtis is getting arrested, which seems terrible, but for some reason he's happy about it.
He's happy about it, and he asks, like, as they're arresting him, like, what about her? Well, we ain't got nothing on her. She's free to go.
It really reminds me of the end of Donnie Darko when, I mean, that's an ambiguous ending, but like he's happy before he gets killed because potentially he realizes that to break the weird time loop he's in, he's got to let himself die. Yeah, whatever. That's the whole.
Let himself get crushed by a fucking jet engine.
But anyway, this ain't the Donnie Darko podcast. This is Misfits. So this time, Curtis wakes up again. His Asbo suit's back, and again that little moment of like he's happy now that his Asbo suit's back.
He's happy that he's fucking got to do community service and is not going to the Olympics.
He goes back to the community center to do his nice little wank off with Alicia. He locks the little gates and Nathan can't get in, but they're still just wanking each other off in the middle of this fucking public place.
Everyone can, and Nathan figures it out.
He still shows up. It's slightly better, but it's just like, that's kind of funny.
He doesn't see anything this time, but he knows. He knows.
The one little wrinkle, this is also just kind of a neat thing now to tie into, because, you know, just so this isn't a total one-off Curtis episode, to have this flow into something in the future, the one thing he did change is he saved Sam, but now through the weirdness, again, this is where I like emotionally resonant time travel. I don't need it to really make sense. Now he's crossed a little stream where he's now cheating on Sam by accident
because she wasn't in. Well, he was cheating on her to begin with.
Yeah, it's where it's just more direct now.
But now it's like she's gonna catch him, and it's amazing she hasn't caught him already.
Yeah, and it's just weird because the Alicia stuff that happened in the original timeline still happened, except in this timeline he's still completely with Sam and sees her every day. So he wouldn't have done the stuff with Alicia really in this timeline, but it's already done. Somehow the two are melded.
Somehow he managed to get away with cheating on his girlfriend with this chick from fucking community service,
which is just so funny and like low stakes and stupid. Like, who gives a shit? Like, you just saved everyone's lives, and who cares if you're cheating on your dumb girlfriend? But that's the one plot thread that's gonna carry forward.
The thing is, he could probably sit all of them down and explain what happened, but Sam's not gonna fucking understand.
Yeah. So the other plot thing is, of course, Sally is still deep on everyone's tail. She knows these kids fucking fucked with her life and her boyfriend. So she's actually going through their shit and finds Tony's credit card in Simon's book bag. So it's like,
and finds the engagement ring that she has no idea about. Yeah. She knows it existed. She just doesn't know that it's that engagement ring.
Yeah, that was actually kind of a neat little thing that she doesn't know what it is, because it would be so easy for that to tip her off. But then, you know, super nerds among us would be like, well, she wouldn't know what that is. And the show did that. It's like, yeah, she doesn't know that one, but she definitely knows Tony's credit card. She's got hard evidence now that these kids that she was already sure were behind some shit are definitely behind some shit. So join us next time.
She can focus completely on Simon. Simon's the only one that did it. Throw him in jail.
So, of course, song of the episode. Now we're going to listen to I Told Her to Drink Up. Select to play the song that I asked for. If you want to link up, you can meet me on the dance floor.
You have fun with that.
50 Cent can't dance like me. Soulja Boy can't dance like me.
All right, folks, we'll catch you next time. Like have a good one.
We fucking love ya. I almost forgot.
I told her to drink up, select to play the song that I asked for. If you wanna link up, can meet me on the dance floor. 50 Cent can't dance like me. Soldier Boy can't dance like me. Michael Jackson can't dance like me. No. So count with me. 1 glass of champagne for me. 2 glass of champagne for you. 3. Now do the Rolex sweep. 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 Count with me. Do the Rolex sweep. 1, 2, 3. I told her to drink up, select to play the song that I asked for. If you wanna link up, you can meet me on the dance floor. 50 Cent can't dance like me. Soldier Boy can't dance like me. Michael Jackson can't dance like me. No. So count with me. 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 1 glass of champagne for me. 2 glass of champagne for you. 3. Now do the Rolex sweep. 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 Count with me. 1 glass of champagne for me. 2 glass of champagne for you. 3. Now do the Rolex sweep. 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 2, 3.
12 o'clock, 1 bottle when I walk through the door. 1 o'clock, then I bought 1 more. 2 o'clock in the corner, skanking. 2:30, I bought 1 more. 1 more, 1 more, 1 more, 1 more, 1 more, 1 more.
Count with me. 1 glass of champagne for me. 2 glass of champagne for you. 3. Now do the Rolex sweep. 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 Count with me. 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 Count with me.
Excuse me? You can't just help yourself to anything you fancy. This is not a buffet. That's theft. I could have you arrested for that.
Really? For eating some pick and mix?
You're paying for the sweets in your mouth and for that drink.
Beverly. Isn't that a woman's name?
Pay up and leave.
Beverly. That's brilliant. Why did your parents give you a girl's name?
This is your final warning.
Maybe you were born with both sets of genitalia. You know, like a chick with a dick.
Can I have security to the concession stand,
Well, I'm
please?
guessing your parents wanted a boy, so they kept your cock and sewed up your clunge.
You're coming with me.
I'm being assaulted by a chick with a dick! Help me! They sewed up his clunge!
You shit!
They sewed up his clunge!